أينما تكونوا يدرككم الموت ولو كنتم في بروج مشيدة.
Wherever you may be, death will reach you, even if you are in built-up fortresses. As a certainty, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says,
كل نفس ذائقة
every soul shall
الموت.
taste death. وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. وبعد, inshallah ta'ala, what we're going to do tonight, inshallah, is just run through from the beginning, not right from the beginning, but from the beginning of just the takfeen. After the preparation of the kafan is prepared, it has been scented, it has been made ready. So all we're going to do, inshallah ta'ala, is wrap him with the kafan and enter the kafan, like I said, for the protecting of the aura and so on. And then we're going to change over to the takfeen for the mar'ah, for the woman. Now this is because there's many of the brothers that requested it on account of wanting to perhaps do this themselves one day. You know, a man wanting to wash his own wife and kafan his own wife, and this is perfectly permissible. And inshallah ta'ala, he has to know what to do. You'll see, inshallah, there's a difference in the takfeen, not much of a difference, but basically in the prepared kafan. For example, with a male, 3 pieces of kafan. That's it. Alright? Something to cover to protect the aura, and the bands to close it. With the woman, 5 pieces. Right? 2 wraps, and then also her qamis, her khimar, and her izar. So we'll show that now, inshallah ta'ala. We're going to do a quick run through from the beginning, or of the takfeen, of the preparing the kafan. And once we have done for the male, then we'll just step down and do it for the female, inshallah ta'ala. Our motto will stay the same. Inshallah. I need someone to assist me with the kafan and the takfeen. One volunteer. Just get our 3 lifaf in order, inshallah. I showed you this in the last demonstration we had.
3.
Yeah, 3 for the male, 3 lifaf. 3 wraps, inshallah. This one is not Now the easy method we showed last time to get the kafan under the mayit is to roll it. Alright? That we roll it. Doesn't have to be smooth, you can just till about the half. And by lifting the mayit, right, we enter it. And on the one side, just check that it's even on both sides. Right. Keep the mayit covered. We pull out the kafan on the side. This mate is wearing a combi, so time gets in the way in the top. Right. So we have our 3 wraps ready. inshallah. And it is really light, so it's easy. Alhamdulillah. Right. Now, one of the things I said some of you wanted to see, and I was going to show you, is putting the protective covering on the aura. And I said we don't use cotton wool except what is needed. It is not from the sunnah to put cotton wool in the kafan. So we don't use except what is needed in the kafan. Right? If, for example, we fear because of the movement of the mayyit that there will be some excreting of urine or maybe stool, we can use a protective covering. Now what we do, I can't do this now because like I said, our mayyit is wearing qamis, but what you'll do is you'll take a piece like this, right? A block. More of a, what you call this, it's not square, rectangular shape, right? And by raising the mayyit, you raise the mayyit onto the side with assistance and enter it between the legs of the mayyit from the back, right? So you enter it between the legs of the mayyit from the back, and when you put the mayyit down, you pull it through from the front and fold it over, right? So it will almost be like a kind of an underpants or a nappy, right? Through the legs at the back and over the front, right? You don't need to tie it up. Some people do take a band and tie it so that it doesn't move, but because the mayyit is going to be covered, it's going to be wrapped, there won't be that movement that can move that thing out of the way. So once we're at this point, inshallah, the mayyit's got all of that, we start with the covering. When we start with the first covering, you right there?
Okay. Mike.
So once you've covered, you put on one or two lifaf, maybe you put on two wraps, you pull out the cover from the aura, right? You pull out what covers the aura. So basically the mayyit never becomes uncovered, because when you do that, yani the sheets are covering him. Always the same, 3 times, very simple. Right? And then basically your ties. We had about so once we've got the mayyit wrapped, we have the tie straps. 5 is sufficient. And you obviously, you tie it so that you can just pull the string and it will loosen. Right? If you use 5, you use 1 at the feet, 1 in the middle, 1 on top, 1 over the shoulders, 1 over the knees. Right? Some use 7. It's not necessary to use so much. Right? So, we'll have 1 through here. And I'm not going to tie it up because we're going to untie it again now. And remember what I said about where you put the knots? On what side? Huh? On the left hand side. Why? Because you're going to lay on his right hand side. When you put him in the qabr, in the lahd, you're going to put him on his right hand side. So if you're going to make the knots on the right hand side, which some people do by accident just, right? It means that when he's in the hole, then you have people struggling to untie the kafan. So you put it on the left hand side, so that when he's in the hole, when you pull the knots loose on the left hand side, finish. It's not from the sunnah to open the kafan. It's not from the sunnah to open the kafan, or to put sand on the face, or put the face on the sand, or anything like this. This is not from the sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The other sunnah is to cover the mayit completely and just untie the straps. Now that we showed last time, inshallah. Close. Okay. They want to see, you know. Quick. Right. And then you, towards the top, put the tie on here, knot it so that you are easily able to untie the bow, inshallah, when he is in the lah. That concludes the takfeen and the ghusl of the maid, which is a male. Inshallah, slightly different with the female.
Said about the hands.
Naam.
Must you fold the hands on the chest as we see this?
Good question. Some people, they put the hands of the deceased on the chest. Right? They put it on the chest. And we always say to them, why when he's dead you put it on the chest, and in Salah you stand like this. When he's dead you want to put it on the chest. Right? When you Salah, it is legislated with text to put the hands on the chest. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in the hadith of Wa'il ibn Hujr in Sahih ibn Khuzaymah, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would put his right hand on his left hand and put them firmly on his chest. That is the Sahih hadith. Right? Putting here, not Sahih. Right? On the chest is Sahih. However, when it comes to kafan, nothing has been reported with regards to the details of the kafan. We have been told 3 sheets, right, for the male. We've been told 3 sheets. We find in the athar the 5 sheets for the woman. However, nothing is textually stated. There's no hadith that says you must use a qamis and a khimar and an izar and 2 wraps. So nothing with detail has been reported. There's nothing that says you must put the hands on the chest or you must put the hands on the side. There's no hadith. So whether you put the hands on the chest or whether you put the hands on the side, it's up to you. Right? For the woman, I normally tell the female to command this, that put the hands on the chest. It's more covering. It's astar lil mar'ah. It is more covering of the woman because people's going to handle the body. Right? People's going to move the body. So the hands on the chest, it covers her also. Right? But for the men, leaving the hands at the side, as is the normal state, as the person stands, this is what is the asl. This is what is the asl. So you leave it like that. Right? For the woman, the reason you're putting it on the chest is to cover the chest also. Right? So, basically, whichever one you do, some of the mughasilin, they do different ways. Some put it on the chest, some leave it at the side. It doesn't matter because there's no text stated with where to put the hands. The text is with regards to making the ghusl and doing the takfir and the salah and the burial. The text is with regards to other matters. So that is not such an important matter, whether you put it on the chest or whether you leave it at the side. طيب. Now, with the mar'ah, and now we're going to have to undo everything here. That's why I said let's not do it too thorough this time, because you're going to have to undo it and prepare it slightly differently. Not much, very slightly. The woman, like I said, she has more covers. The ghusl is the same. The ghusl is the same, but with regards to the covering, as we mentioned, it is longer. Covering is from the top, right top of the chest, right down to the middle of the shins. That cover stays on her throughout the washing period until we have covered her. Then we pull out the cover, just like now. But just her cover it's longer. Right? It covers more of her body. It covers the chest also. The man, it covers from the navels to the knees, including the navels and the knees. When you say the awras from the navels to the knees, it means and including. So your pants can't be below your navel, and you say the awras from the navel to the knees. The awras from the navel to the knees, so the navel must also be covered. The knees must also be covered. Right? For the woman, when you cover, you just put the long cover on from the top to the middle of the shins. Now, what is different? Just before we did this just now, that 5 minutes that we were in there, we cut some other pieces from the kafan. Now they give you enough. Whether it is for a male or female, they give you enough. From the pieces we cut, taking into consideration the size of the woman also that is deceased, you'll cut a qamis, a shirt. Right? You cut a shirt. And the way the shirt is cut, like I said, the measurement of the mayita is considered, and you have a double piece, or let's say a long piece, which is broad enough to cover her. Right? This is one piece. See this? Right? We folded this piece in the half, and then we made a slit right there in the middle. Right? We folded in the half. At this length, you can see with me, it covers from the neck right down. From the neck, over the head, from the neck right down. So it is like a shirt. Right? Goes right down to maybe more than half of the shin. You cut this from one piece of the kafan. This is your qamis. The remaining piece, on account of the pieces of material that we had, the other half of this, in the breadth, the other half we didn't still cut, we took it just like it is, and we're going to take that as our khimar. And the khimar is that which the woman, they wrap the hair in, wrap the head, right? The khimar, the headgear, right? Or head covering. And of course, along with that, we took another piece, and that piece, I'm not sure which is the khimar and which is the izar now. Okay, this is the izar. So if one piece has an izar, you know what's an izar? No, a lungi. Lungi, right? So we have an izar, which is going to cover from the middle, right down over the feet. Same length as the kafan. Right? And we have the qamis, which is going to come from the head, right down to almost, to half shin maybe, or a little longer. And we have the khimar, which is going to be wrapped around the head. Right? Now when you prepare the kafan, one of the things you note when we hold up the kafan like this, right? You're going to have this in there somewhere. But you must consider where the head of the female is going to be. Right, so you need to kind of work out, stand next to the mayita, you stand next to the kato, and you work out around where the head is going to be. So you will then wrap this in the middle of your kafan, right, with the end out. Right, the end must be out. Why? Because it must fold over. Right, to make it easier, you can wrap it up, but leave the point out like that so that you can just pull it. Right, you can just pull it out. The same you can do when you have to enter the kafan under the mayita. You're going to have 2 lifaf, 2 wraps. This is the third one, so we're not going to have that one, right? You're going to have 2. One of the ways you can fold it is to fold it in with the point out. So when you move the mayita, you move on the side and you will enter it. Keep the point out there to make it easier for you to pull out. Right. The khimar is loosely, the khimar can fit loosely. The main thing here is that the mayita, the body must remain covered at all times. Right. So if you've got the mayita on the table and you wash some people they lift the bodies. That's why they need a lot of people in the room. We're speaking about doing a ghusl with as little people as possible in the room. So you're going to have to move the mayita on the side and do the same thing with this as we did with the male. Right, so we're going to have, we're going to request our mayit. Something of one, just something we forgot. Can you just open this? Just something I forgot. Brief me there. Where's this? Yeah. The izar will cover over the qamis. Right, the izar will go over the qamis. So once you prepare your kafan, bring the izar up to more than halfway. You'll see what a nice dressing it makes for the woman once we show you now, inshallah. Right. And then you fold everything, inshallah, like we had it now. There's just 2 actually. Just 2 the 2 wraps and you have the izar on your side. The izar will also be on your side here. Okay. Now, can we have a Fine. So, here's the cover. The woman's cover, like I said, is longer. The woman's cover is going to be from the chest area right down to maybe middle of the shins. Now we don't have something now of exact length, so we're just showing you with whatever we have. Right? So the same, you will do the same thing. Now obviously it might take more ladies to move the mayita. Move the mayita up onto the side and put the kafan nice tight. And now we pull it through on the other side, inshallah. Right? Now everything is already in place. Everything is in place. Our qamis is going to go over first. Right? You pull the qamis so that the cut that we made for the head, there you go. Right over. Right? So now the upper body is covered. Right? When this is done, we have our izar. We have our izar. We're not going to close it too tight. Here we go. And now we'll pull out the covering. Right. So the mayita is already covered. Right? She's already covered. The khimar, just like the ladies wear their khimar over their heads and over the top, we do the same with the khimar. Now this I am not good at. Right? I can't tell you exactly how you're going to do this, but I've seen, a little bit of how my wife them do it. Right? So, it's a dookie. That's what it is. It's a dookie. Right? Is het wel een doekje aan? Nee, hoor je, dan maak je het kapot op je. So the khimar you will do, inshallah, just like the ladies always do it. And don't ask me, it doesn't look very neat because I don't know how to make the scarf so nicely. Right? But you know how. Right? The ladies know how, inshallah. So now the mayita is already covered. You wrap the izar nicely, so that the izar also brings the qamis into position. This means that even if the two wraps open up, the lady is still covered. Even if the rifaf is open, through whatever might happen, the lady will remain covered. And this is the purpose, because it is very important for the lady to remain covered. Now, the same thing that we did with the man, the protective covering here for the private part, the same was done for the lady. Right? The same was done for the lady. So after this, we have two wraps. So how many pieces of kafan we have now? We have one, khimar, qamis, two, izar, three. Then we have two wraps. Right? We have two wraps that covers everything basically. This man is so comfortable on this pillow, he doesn't want to rub his head in. Right, same thing. Tie it up at the top, tie it up at the feet, yeah, one at the waist, one at the knees, one across the body here, right? The mayit or the mayita is kafan, right? The kafan process is finished. Henceforth, what happens is, we leave the house, we're going to make Salat-ul-Janaaiz, and we're going to the maqbara, inshallah. Now,
is it possible for a son to wash his mother?
No. Son cannot wash his mother. Husband can wash his wife. Wife can wash her husband. If the child is a baby, parents can wash the child. Right? Other than that, no. Males wash males. Females wash females. Right? Not even brothers and sisters who are mahrams to each other can wash each other. Right? Oh yes, this is one of the things. People want to view even the woman. Now, we advise that not anyone except the mahram relations of the woman must view her. You don't let strange males come in and view a woman from your family that has died. Right? But the males, for example, from your family or the mahrams to that woman, maybe her nephews, maybe her brothers, her uncles, or so on, they can come and view her. Not like tafaddal, everyone, all the males. So at Janaiz, when I have Janaiz, I say normally to the family can go in and the woman. If it's a woman, family can go view her and the woman. But not all those men that are standing outside can go and view this woman. Another thing is, often you see them putting a parda on for the woman now that she has died. The woman never wore parda. This is the reality. Never in her life wore parda, and then when she dies, they put a parda on so that people can come and view and only see her eyes. It's pointless, it's futile. Right? When she was alive, what she was acting on? She was acting on the hadith. That Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, when a woman reaches puberty, all that can be seen is her face and her hands. It's one of the hadith. So she was maybe not of the view that the parda is wajib or the niqab, not the niqab, but the veiling of the face is an obligation. So it's nothing for a family to come and view her face. There's nothing wrong, except if there's something that happened with death or so, and there's some signs on the face, maybe it's not a good sign. Don't show anyone. Don't show anyone. The mughassil, he must use his brains also. He must see, you know what, we wouldn't want the family to see this. Yeah, so we will close. We say, you know what, alhamdulillah, it's okay. You don't have to open. Or maybe you say something else. Don't say cause this or that. The problem with the mayyit. You don't mention anything bad that you see with the mayyit. Perhaps the family members who wash with you, they saw it themselves, so they would maybe tell other family members why it's not a good idea to open the face. Right, so people, when this is the state of the mayyit or the mayyita and you come to a janazah, what is legislated for you to do? All that is legislated for you to do, if it is a person, if it's a male, and you come and you are a male, it's a loved one, someone near to you, you can kiss the person on the forehead and make dua for that person. Like Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did. Right, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he came and they did with him. Abu Bakr Radiyallahu anhu, when he came, when Rasulullah was dead, he uncovered his face, he kissed him on the forehead. And we know, he said his statement that Allah will not make you taste death twice. Right. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he went to Abu Salama, he kissed him on the forehead and he made dua for him. Allahumma gfir li Abi Salama. So this is what is legislated for you. Not to go there, mayyit is there, get a chair and sit and read. This is an innovation. This has no basis in the sunnah. You come and read Qur'an to the mayyit, it doesn't benefit. And then especially they read Surah Yasin, and Allah says, لِتُنْذِرَ مَنْ كَانَ حَيًّا وَيَحِقَّ الْقَوْلُ عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ. To warn those who are alive and to fulfill the word against the disbelievers. He is dead. You can't warn him now. This Qur'an is to warn those who are alive so that they can act. So there is no basis for reading Qur'an over the dead. As for the hadith, لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَلْبٍ وَقَلْبُ الْقُرْآنِ يَاسِينَ اقْرَأُوهَا عَلَى مَوْتَاكُمْ. Then this is baseless. You say everything has a heart and the heart of the Qur'an is Yasin, so read it over your Mawtakum. This is the mistake that they make. They say read it over your deed. But when it comes to the talqeen, they say laqinu mawtakum la ilaha illallah. Encourage your dying to say la ilaha illallah. When it comes to Yasin, they say read it over your dead. The same word, mawtakum. In the one hadith they say you're dying, in the other hadith they say you're dead. Right? It is your dying people. Because there's no point in reading the Qur'an to someone who is already dead. Yes, he will get what he sent forth. If he took heed in his lifetime and he died upon good, alhamdulillah. If he didn't, now it's too late. Qur'an can't help him now. He had to act on the Qur'an in his lifetime. So this hadith that read Yasin over your dying, not your dead as they interpret it, even over your dying, this hadith has no basis, so it must not be practiced. Must not be practiced. No any other surah of the Qur'an is mentioned like this. Right? So this, if you then do it, remember, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did not do it. Khulafa al-Rashidun, rightly guided Khalifas, they did not do it. Right? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, alaykum bi sunnati wa sunnati al-Khulafa al-Rashidin al-Mahdiyin min ba'di. You must hold on to my sunnah and the sunnah of my rightly guided Khalifas after me. So today people differ about it. Can we come and sit and read Qur'an to the deceased? We say, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, مَا يَعِشْ مِنْكُمْ سَيَرَى اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. The one of you will live after me, you will see a great deal of ikhtilaf, difference, controversy. One say you can read, one say you can't read. What must you do? Alaykum bi sunnati. This is the solution given in the hadith. So what is his sunnah? To read for the dead? No. What is the sunnah of the Khulafa al-Rashidin? To read for the dead? No. So alaykum bi sunnati. Hold on to their sunnah and the sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and don't do what they didn't do. Right, so all that is legislated is for people to come and make dua for that deceased. That is all that is legislated. Another innovation, Al-Fatiha, right? And everyone together read Surah Al-Fatiha. This is an innovation, it's baseless. Surah Al-Fatiha is Surah Al-Fatiha. We don't deny the virtues of Surah Al-Fatiha. We don't deny the virtues of dua. We don't deny the virtues of Surah Yasin or anything of the Qur'an. But everything is legislated by Allah how it should be done. Everything is legislated. So even this, Surah Al-Fatiha there in congregation all together for the dead person, this has no basis in the Sharia, so it should also not be done. Don't find it in the Sunnah or in the Sunnah of the rightly guided Khulafa. No.
Is it again the family and recite the haqqam on behalf of the...
You can't recite for the Mayyit. You can't recite for the Mayyit, just like you can't make salah for the Mayyit. Right? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, إِذَا مَاتَ ابْنُ آدَمْ انْقَطَعَ عَمَلُهُ إِلَّا مِنْ إِحْدَى ثَلَاثٍ. He said, when the son of Adam dies, his actions are cut off except for one of three things. Sadaqatin jariyah, ongoing charity. Right? Ilmin yuntafa'u bih, knowledge which is benefited from. أو waladin salih, or a pious child, in one narration, yada'u lahu, who is making dua for his parent. Right? Even the narration without making dua, the pious child is benefiting his parent. Because his parent is the cause and the sabab of him being here. And his parent taught him and sent him to learn. So whatever he does of righteousness, his parent benefits from it. Right? As for other things, another thing Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam permitted is the Hajj. To make a badal Hajj, if your parent had the money maybe, and he didn't go. Right? Became sick, died before being able to go for Hajj. Hajj is a debt owed to Allah. It is a haqq of Allah on the person who has the ability to go. وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. And for Allah, upon mankind is the duty of Hajj. Whoever is able to find his way there. So he did not fulfill that duty, his son fulfills it on behalf of him. If he made an oath to fast, and he saw another, he said, if this and this occurs, I will fast for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so many days. Right? His son, that is his wakil after him, his son fasts on behalf of the father. The son fasts on behalf of the father. Right? Sadaqah. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when one sahabi came and said, Ya Rasulullah, my mother used to love to give charity, and she has passed away, can I give on her behalf? Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, yes, give on her behalf. Those are the things that was mentioned in the Sharia that we can do for the Mayyit. We can do that for the Mayyit. As for reading the Qur'an for Ruhi Fulan, or making Salah for the Ruh of Fulan, or any of these things, and saying ila Ruhi Fulan, to the soul of so and so, then the strongest view, and one risala that was compiled by Sheikh Salih Abdul Aziz Sindi, Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, the professor in Jamiatul Islamiyah, and one of the muftis in the haram of the Masjid al-Nabawi. You have met, many of you. Right, Sheikh Salih, he compiled a treatise on all the evidences for and against. For and against. Yani that you can do some things besides that which is mentioned and give the reward or the action for the roof of so and so. And the qawl al-rajih, the preponderant view at the end of all these evidences is that you can't. You can only do what the Sharia permits you to do. Because remember, ibadah is tawqifiyah. This is one of the principles in ibadah. Tawqifiyah means it's restricted to what comes in the Qur'an and Sunnah. Just like you can't make up an ibadah, you can't make up what to do with that ibadah either. Right? So it is restricted to what comes in the text of the Sharia. Inshallah ta'ala, at this point, people have seen, the family has seen the Mayyit, they've made dua for the Mayyit, they've closed up the Mayyit. No salawat is made. You know, when we're going to go now, we're going to the masjid, like here when people go to the masjid, we don't have even a musalla for janazah, and this is a sunnah. The sunnah is that the janazah is to be prayed in a musalla outside of the masjid. The open area, outside of the masjid, just like Eid Salah. This is the sunnah. Right? So, when we are leaving to the musalla, what we have and what we see in Cape Town is people start a little, I don't know any other way to say it, a voorwerk. We begin a voorwerk maak. Right? They basically begin with the introduction to the Ratibul Haddad. They recite the whole thing all together, and then they come to a certain portion, and now they're ready to leave. They make dua, and before they leave, they make salawat in congregation. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali. You know what now? And then when they say Sayyidina Muhammad, everyone together, there you go. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is an innovation. Salawat is mashru'ah. Salawat is legislated. Right? There's no doubt one of the greatest forms of ibadah. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. So whenever we say his name, we say sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Whenever we say his name, all the time, throughout our day and our night, when we're busy with hadith, when we're speaking about him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we put salawat on him all the time. However, to introduce a new way of it, or to introduce it and add it to another act of ibadah, it makes that an innovation. It makes it an innovation, even though the action is permitted. This is because innovation is of two types. There's bid'ah asliyah, and there's bid'ah idafiyah. Bid'atun asliyah is something which is innovated from its origin. Somebody just made this up. This is nowhere found in the Sharia. Right? So this is a bid'atun asliyah. For example, ratib. Ratib is a bid'atun asliyah. Nowhere in the Sharia does Allah order you to hit yourself with a sword, or stab yourself with boosters, or I don't know, skewers, whatever. So this, from the very foundation, it is something someone made up. He saw it somewhere else and he brought it into Islam. It's a bid'ah asliyah. Now we look at salawat. Salawat is an act of ibadah. As we said, you are ordered with salawat. However, they have introduced a certain way of making it. Congregation and with certain wording. And this is how it is supposed to be done. Right? In congregation and with certain wording, they legislated this, you do it like this. And they added it to another act of ibadah. That before you can carry the mayit out of the house, you must make the salawat. So they have legislated now. Right? This is a bid'ah idafiyah. Because salawat is not a bid'ah, but it is a bid'ah due to how they do it and what they add to it. Just like dhikrullah. Dhikrullah is ibadah. But when you make up a different way of dhikrullah, which the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not do and the Sahaba did not do, then it is a bid'atun idafiyah. It's a bid'ah on account of how you're doing it, what you have legislated with it. Right? So nowhere is salawat mentioned. So once we are done, whoever is in charge, the wakil or whatever, and you want to leave, you tell the people, right, bismillah, let's go. And there you go. Then you leave the house. And another thing, there is no text legislating whether you must leave with the feet or the head first. When carrying, it's legislated that you carry with the head first. But when leaving out of the house, it is not stated in any hadith. The head must go out first or the feet must go out first. So this is not an issue. People, they make a fuss over putting the head first or putting the feet first. Right? And yet there's no hadith for this. The point is, get out. Asri'u bil-Janaiz. Right? Hasten with the janazah. This is the point. Not to argue about whether the feet must go out first or whether the head must go out first. Then when carrying the janazah, carrying the mayyit to wherever you're going to make salatul janazah and to the burial, one of the things that must be noted is when we carry the mayyit, if we have 4 people, each one carrying a side and one person just holding on, right? It's legislated. Those who are walking, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you can walk in front, behind, on the right, on the left, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If you're walking and the mayyit is being carried, if you walk in front or you walk behind, none of this matters. Right? What does matter is if you're riding. If you're getting in your car and following the janazah, masjid is around the corner, as happens a lot here. They're going to make salah at the masjid, so they're going to the masjid. Some are carrying and some don't want to carry. Some get in their cars. If you get in your car, don't drive in front of the mayyit. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Al-Mashi haythu sha'a min al-janazah wal-rakib khalfa. He said the Mashi, the one walking, can walk anywhere he wants with the janazah. Right? But the one riding must ride behind it. Right? He must ride behind it. This is due to respect, and respecting the janazah, respecting what you are seeing, and not, taking it as something lightly where you get in your car and you drive and you go wait at the masjid again. And then when they come out of the masjid, you get in your car and you drive and you wait at the maqbara. Rather, you must follow. What are we ordered with? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered us to follow the janazah. So the wording makes it clear. Follow the janazah, don't precede the janazah. Right? Go behind it. Ons sê in Afrikaans, ons gaan agter die janazah. Ons gaan agter die janazah, maar reik so maar maqbara toe. Right? So you should follow the janazah. This is the sunnah. This is what Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered us with. Another matter to observe while carrying the mayyit, voices must not be raised with dhikr or anything else. When people carry the janazah, it should be silent. Wallahi, it is such an ibrah, it is such an admonishment, such a maw'idah, just that silence. Seeing that mayyit being carried, to his qabr, and absolute silence. Why? It's death. This person has died. This person's actions are cut off. His kalam is cut off. Dhikrullah is cut off. Everything is done is cut off. Right? He is going to that which he sent forth himself. He's going to find it. He's going to meet it. We accompany the janazah, but we're talking about rugby, we're talking about soccer, and we are not taking note of what is happening in front of us. It's like one of the scholars, he said, we carry the janazah on our shoulders, and it is as if we are not going the same path. We carry it, but we're not even thinking, this could be me tomorrow, or later. Could be me later. This must be here. You must see the sign. When you went into that house, or when you saw that family, death had no mercy. Death didn't worry whether he had children. Didn't worry about his parents. Didn't worry whether he was a parent or a breadwinner. Didn't worry whether she was a mother who had children who needed her. When death came, khalas, death took her. That's it. This is a ibrah, this is a sign that you yourself could be next, and death is not going to worry whether you have finished with this contract, or whether you have done what you wanted to do, or whether you have put out what you're going to do next month. Death doesn't worry. So it is a sign that you must reflect, am I ready? If this was me now, what would be my case? If this was me now being carried, how would I be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What would be my situation with Allah? So with silence, pondering, looking at the sign, Allah, it is a great admonishment. But even when it's dhikr that is being made, it totally preoccupies people from what the actual sign is here. The actual sign is in death. So walking and everyone shouting, La ilaha illallah, like we see with some of these groups, everyone making dhikr, shouting and making noise. This is not from the sunnah. This Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam prohibited. He prohibited that the voices must be raised with the janazah, whether with dhikr or anything, or Qur'an or anything else. Also, it is imitation of who? Of the Nasara. The Nasara, certain sects of the Nasara, when they have a funeral, some of them they have a band, and they sing hymns. And somebody walks, and he's got the thing that they burn the incense in. He walks in front of the mayyit coming. Right? This is what the Nasara do. So, another thing that is prohibited is to do that, to burn incense, to burn miang. Miang tisitafat and they give it. So to do this, to follow the janazah with this bukhul and this miang burning, this is not from our deen. This is an innovation. This is imitation of the non-Muslims. So we shouldn't do it. Rather, the janazah travels silently and swiftly. Swiftly because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, as I mentioned, Asri'u bil janazah. Hasten with the janazah. Right? No unnecessary delays. One of the things we see nowadays, janazah is taken outside of the house, it's put in the street, the sheikh comes out, he gathers all the people and he gives a lecture. You've seen it. He was a eulogy. He was such a good man, came to the masjid, all of these things. This is not from the sunnah. We need to hasten with the janazah. In the house, when everyone is gathered, no problem to utter some words in the house. The family is there. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he came in, what did he tell the family of Ja'far? What did he tell the family of Abu Salama? Right? In all cases, when he went to a janazah, he advised the family. So it is permitted in the house, before going out with a janazah, that we speak. And we say to the family to have patience, to say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, to only make good dua, to not question Allah Ta'ala's qadr. This is good in the house. Then you go and you hasten with a janazah. Not now you go outside and you give another speech where everyone can see you. Right? This is innovation, and this is unnecessary delaying of the burial of this person. So this shouldn't happen. We go with the mayyit to the musalla. The musalla for the janaiz, where salatul janazah is going to be made. This week or next week? Salatul janazah.
It's alright,
Okay, is any more questions? No more questions, inshallah.
The previous video you did it with the make incense between the sheets, also the premium?
The perfuming of the wraps. Now we said the woman must not don't perfume. Right? The body, the place of sujood is being perfumed already. Right? The place of sujood is being perfumed, this is sufficient. Right? You don't want too much incense or perfume on the kafan for the lady, just like she doesn't perfume herself in her lifetime. Why loosen the knots? Does the maid really sit up in the grave? Right. Now what happens in the grave? Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he says there's an alaqa between the ruh and the jasad in the barzakh. There's a connection between the ruh and the body in the barzakh till a certain time, which only Allah knows. We do know that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that when he is entered into the grave, yani ja'ahu malakan, two angels come to him, right? فَيُجْلِسَانِهِ, and they make him sit up. وَيَسْأَلَانِهِ, and they question him, they ask him, مَا رَبُّكَ, مَا دِينُكَ, مَنِ الرَّجُلَ الَّذِي بُعِثَ فِيكُمْ. And this is what is affirmed in the hadith. They make him sit up. They make him sit up. How this happens in the grave, none of us can see. No one was down there and saw it and came and told us. This is from the matters of the unseen. Some of the ulama, they say this is with the ruh. This is with the ruh. Right? However, we untie the wraps because the body, in any case, the body must decay. The body must decay. This is what must happen. The body must go back to the earth. Right? So we untie the kafan. We don't leave it tied up tightly. This is not a matter of speculation or assumption. We don't assume that we untie it because physically it needs to be open so that he can sit up. We untie it because it needs to be, it's going to be uncovered. The body is going to decay. As for the sitting, Allahu A'lam, how it happens. Great principle, inshallah, in matters of Aqidah and in matters of Qadr, two things. Don't ask limada and don't ask kaifa. Two words, two questions which is not asked about two things. You don't ask why about Qadr. Why did Allah decree that? Don't ask. Why did he die now? Don't ask. Don't say why. Allah decreed, Qadarullah ma sha'a fa'al. Allah's decree and He does what He wills. The ghaybiyat, the matters of the unseen. Matters of the unseen. Don't say how. Don't say how. Ra'sul ghayb, the main affair of the unseen is what? What is the main affair of the unseen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do we say, how is Allah? If Allah says, I created you with my, Ya Adam, to Adam, I created you with my hands. Do we say, how is Allah's hands? Allah says, the ship of Nabi Nuh flowed under my eyes. Do we say, how is Allah's eyes? We don't say how. Likewise with other matters of the unseen. We don't say how. How does this happen? Allah A'lam. Allah alone knows how. We can't see it. Right, so the same here. How He sits up, we know He sits up. We believe it, Wallahi yaqeenan. How? Only Allah Ta'ala knows. Nowadays the lahd that they make is not a lahd. Go to the graveyard, go to Wara Mufta. There's no more lahd. They make a hole in the one side and a hole in the other side. Because they have a space problem. They put your head in the one hole and your feet in the other hole. And then they put the planks over. I totally disagree. At many janais I said to them, you can't do this, make the lahd. You can't do this. Imagine, subhanAllah, he put his head in there, some movement. First thing, the earth falls on his head. And the purpose of the lahd is to protect the body. that you don't even throw the sand directly onto the body. Right, so this is a problem actually that they have today. But in that case, you know, when his head is in that hole, how is he going to sit up? Allahu A'lam. Allah knows best. Right, from the matters of the unseen, those angels will make him sit up, and they will question him. That's definite. Now,
is the non-Muslims also going to be questioned like?
Non-Muslims will also be questioned. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in the same hadith, after mentioning the death of the Muslim, he mentioned the death of the disbeliever or the hypocrite. And he mentioned how the angels will question him also. And that the angel will ask him, Ma Rabbuk? And he will say, La adri. I don't know. Doesn't know who's his Lord. And they ask him, what is your deen? I don't know. Who is the man that was sent to you? I don't know. But the munafiq, he will say, I heard the people say something, so I said the same. SubhanAllah, this will happen in the grave. So this is affirmed for both the Muslim as well as the non-Muslim. There's a reward. Yeah, there's a reward in carrying the mayit. There's a reward in being part of burying the mayit. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that whoever follows the janazah until he is prayed upon, right, falahu qirat, and he will get 1 qirat. And whoever follows the janazah until he is buried, then lahu qiratan, he will get 2 qirats. So they ask, Ya Rasulullah, what is a qirat? They said the likes of Mount Uhud. Imagine the likes of Mount Uhud in reward. When Abdullah ibn Umar, when he heard it, then he said, how many qirats we've lost. How many qirats we've lost. Laziness maybe. You know, maybe we didn't want to go, we didn't know the virtue. But this is the great virtue in following the janazah.
Walking behind the mayyat to the maqbara, so can we make dua?
We make dua for the person. Like I said, when we went to the person, when we saw him, we can make dua even carrying the person. But I make dua by myself. As I'm carrying him, I may say, Allahumma ghfirlahu, Allahumma arhamhu, Allahumma adkhilhu fil jannah. I'm making dua whilst I'm carrying him. You know, no problem with this. Right? But nothing wherein the voices are raised. Nothing whereby we call the congregation to join in. So the person by himself, he can make dua for the mayyit. Right? Right? So that is, there's no problem with that. Because dua for the mayyit is legislated.
Is he allowed to make dua in local language?
In local language. If he doesn't know Arabic, Allah Ta'ala knows all tongues. And Allah Ta'ala is the source of all languages. So if he doesn't know Arabic, he asks Allah in any language he knows. Ask Allah Ta'ala in any language that he knows. Allah Ta'ala understands it. طيب inshallah. Next week inshallah ta'ala, Salatul Janazah and burying the person in the grave inshallah. طيب سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت